So we will be doing restorative yoga, and we will be practicing stillness. And in particular, we're gonna we'll be practicing in each of the restorative poses something that I found in this book that I find really interesting and want to share with you all to try. And so I'm first just going to read this excerpt that was written by Dr. Gail Parker. And she says, restorative yoga teaches you to recognize what relaxation feels like. It teaches you that just because you're doing nothing doesn't mean nothing is happening. Your body is recalibrating, repairing, and rejuvenating. When you take care of your body, it takes care of you. Relaxation is not a waste of time, and the benefits are worth it. Decreases in heart rate, blood pressure, muscle tension, and anxiety are just some of the benefits. Relaxation also increases your energy level, stimulates memory, improves your ability to focus, enhances sleep, strengthens your immune system, and gives you an overall sense of well-being. Make time out a reward, not a punishment. And so, I wanted to share some suggestions that she wrote about making stillness a pleasant experience. And as we go, and I want to share with you up front so that once we get to the restorative poses, if you find that contemplating on one of these suggestions would be helpful for you when we're in the restorative pose, you can do so. But I'm just going to use a different one for each pose. And so her first suggestion, engage your imagination by visualizing a game from childhood that requires stillness. Freeze tag, statues, or red light, green light are some examples. Remembering how much fun that was can help you associate stillness with something joyful. And it's interesting. I was thinking about this for myself, and I like to remember trying to be still when I play hide and seek with like my friends and my family as a kid, and I have to be still and try not to like giggle or breathe too hard, because that is my tendency when I played those games, was like, as the person who's looking for me in hide and seek is coming closer, like I want to like start giggling, and then I lose that way. But I try to be still and like not move too much or make too much noise around me. Her second suggestion here is imagine all the good things you have to look forward to, or recall all the good things that have happened to you during the day. So of course, if for each of the restorative poses you want to focus on this, you can do that. The third, remember a pleasant time of being still, a day alone on the beach enjoying the warmth of the sun with no place to go and nothing else to do. The fourth is envision holding a baby close to your heart, feeling his or her warmth and synchronizing your breath and heartbeat with the baby's. And the last one is just to come up with your own version of what makes stillness a delight, and soon dropping into relaxation will become a pleasure. And so if you're somebody who finds restorative yoga and relaxing to come pretty easily, and you're like, no, I'm good, I don't need to imagine any of this, you can feel free to do that and practice how you normally do. But for today, I am going to be kind of offering these these suggestions as ways to kind of practice as you're in the restorative pose after you've already gotten into it, just to practice making stillness pleasant. And so, with that said, let me just see if there's anything to tell you about the props you should have. We are going to do a legs up the wall as an option towards the end. And so if you want to be close to a wall, or even your door to do legs up the wall, you can do that. Otherwise, I will offer another setup to do an alternative that's not legs up the wall, but is also a gentle inversion. Just something to have the legs up, basically. But I would say having bolster or pillows and blocks, or a block Just one block would be helpful and enough for today. So we'll go ahead and get started just by lying down on the back. And so you can lie down with the legs long or with the feet on mat, knees bent. You can close your eyes or soften the gaze, just allowing yourself to arrive here. Feeling the back of the body touch the ground beneath you. And beginning to notice the general tone in the body. Maybe you're feeling a bit more tired or more alert or awake, or maybe you're feeling pretty balanced. And taking a moment to check in with the breath, feeling your inhale and exhale. You may notice as you inhale, your belly rises. As you exhale, your belly falls. Just taking a moment to feel into the breath here. Now we'll take about 5 or 6 more rounds of breath. Steady inhale and steady exhale. And then as you're ready, if your eyes are closed, you can gently blink your eyes open. We're going to start by bringing the knees in towards the chest and just gently rock side to side. Just massaging the lower back and the spine here. And then we'll bring the feet onto the mat. We'll do a figure 4 stretch, so bringing one ankle over thigh, letting that knee come away from you. And then if you'd like to, you can lift up the bottom leg. And then as you're ready, you can bring it down and take the other side. Bringing your ankle over your thigh, this knee coming away, staying here, or lifting up. Then as you're ready, bringing your feet down onto the mat. And what we'll do is we'll keep the left foot on the mat, but we're going to bring the right leg up towards the ceiling. And we'll just start by pointing and flexing in the ankle. Feeling the leg here and the foot ankle. And then as you're ready, you can pause with that. So what we'll do next is we're going to sort of take the leg in kind of a weird circle. It's not really a circle. I think it'll probably be more like we're drawing a D. I should say a capitalized D. And so what we'll start doing is we're going to take the foot down towards the ground and then bring it out to the side and back on top. So it's kind of like you're going down and then out to the side and then back on top. So it's like you're bringing it down and kind of like you're drawing a half circle to sort of make a capital D shape. And you don't have to make this leg go out as wide as I might be showing. It can just go out just a little bit before you come up to do your half circle shape. And when you're ready, you can reverse the direction. And so we would stop on top here, come out to that half circle, down, and then back up. Half circle, down, and up. A few more times here. Last time. And then you can go ahead and release that foot down to the mat. And we'll do that on the other side, but of course, this time it will be as if we're drawing a backwards capital D. And so bring the leg up. First, we're just going to start with flexing and pointing in the ankle, feeling your foot and your leg. And then as you're ready, we'll do the same thing here. Start by coming down, coming out to do a half circle, and then ending back on top. And again, when you come down and out, you can go out as wide or as narrow as you would like. Just whatever feels best for your hip on that side. We'll do one more before we switch. And then to do the opposite direction, we're going to take the foot that is on top, come down with that half circle, and then bring it back up. Two more rounds here. And then when you're complete, you can just bring your foot down and we'll find our way onto one side. And we're going to do a shoulder stretch here. So you have your hands stacked one on top of the other. You're gonna inhale the top hand up and then exhale, bring it back. Inhaling up and then exhaling, closing. Inhale up, exhale, open. Inhaling up and exhaling, close. Doing about 2 more rounds here. And then as you're ready, you can do this on the other side. So you can just roll over onto your back and onto the other side for this. And we'll do the same thing. Starting with one hand on top of the other, reaching up on an inhale, and then exhale, coming back. Just do about 5 rounds total. I'm doing one more round. Then as you're ready, you can press yourself up into a seat. And we're just going to do a side stretch here, and then we'll come into table. And so reaching one arm up nice and long, rooting down through both sit bones. And go ahead and lean over to the side. And as you're ready, coming back to center and down, and we'll do that other side. Inhale, reaching up, and then finding your side stretch. And then coming back to center and down. So we'll come into our table, hands and knees, letting your wrists beneath shoulders, knees beneath hips. And we'll do our cat and cow. Inhale, dropping belly, lifting gaze. Exhale, rounding the back and dropping the head. Feeling into your back and the spine. Maybe 3 more rounds. Then as you're ready, we'll go ahead and bring the hips towards the heels. Coming into a child's for a moment. Perhaps taking this time to reconnect with the breath or feel into where your arms and legs might be touching the mat or the ground beneath you. Then as you're ready, you can come back to center and to table. And what we'll do is we're going to do a stretch for the hips. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a lizard or dragon pose. We won't be in it for a super long time, but just for a bit. And so you're going to bring one foot up in front like you're coming into a lunge. But you're going to make sure both your hands are on the inside of the foot, and you can walk the foot out towards the edge of the mat. And then if you like to, you can shift your hips forward. And you can just hang out here. Or if you like, you can lower your forearms and elbows to come onto the ground or onto blocks. For today, I'm just going to hang out here. And then as you're ready, you can bring yourself back into table, and we'll do that on the other side. So bringing the foot out in front, hands to the inside of the foot walks towards the edge of the mat. Let your hips shift forward if you like how that feels. I find that when I shift the hips forward versus when I don't, coming forward, I can feel into my hip flexor a bit more, as well as the other hip. And then as you're ready, you can come back into your table and find a seat. We will set up for our first pose. And so what we'll need is you can use a bolster or pillow, or you can just use a blanket. We're going to be doing a Makarasana, or a crocodile, or on the belly Shavasana. And so I'll show different ways. So this particular bolster I have is really firm, and so I don't normally feel too comfortable doing this. But if you have a softer bolster, or you can use pillows, you could potentially take it vertically and just lie down on your belly like so. And like I said, mine is really firm, so I can't even bring my forehead down towards my hands. I would have to take like blocks or kind of do some fists here. But this could sometimes feel good if you have the right prop to have it vertically. Another thing you could do, same thing for some people, it might feel good to have a prop underneath the low belly and make it horizontal. So something like this. And that might be nice, but not right for this particular prop that I have today. And so what I'm going to do, and which I believe is how it's shown in the Restorative Yoga book I have, it actually might be a smaller bolster, but I'm going to take a blanket and just fold it a little bit. I'm not going to make it super bulky or anything. And I'm going to lay down on my belly there. And if you have another blanket, if you want to be extra comfortable, I'm going to grab my other blanket to show. You can take this other blanket and also create a little blanket roll, but this one is going to be to rest your ankles on top of. So it will look something like this. So I've got one blanket underneath me, and the other one is some support for my feet. And then you just come down onto the belly and resting your forehead on top of your hands. And so some variation of this. And so finding what works for you. I will go ahead and check time. As always, you can come out before I tell you to. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to teach this just like a regular restorative class. But towards the end, normally towards the end, I would tell you 10 more rounds of deep breath. And so you could feel free to take 10 more rounds of deep breath, or you can do one of the suggestions that I will give that is from Dr. Gail Parker's book on imagining that you're doing something, a still activity that might be pleasant. Take a moment to notice your breath, becoming aware of what it's like to be in this form. And if you have one hand on top of the other here, you can change the cross of the hand. So my right hand was on top, so I'll bring my left hand on top of my right. And maybe here you allow yourself to exhale just a little bit deeper. And as you're breathing here, maybe seeing if you can let the shoulders relax a little bit more, letting it melt a little bit closer to the floor or a little bit more away from the ears here. And you can take your last 10 rounds of deep breath, or you can take a moment to recall a memory of playing a game when you were younger that required stillness, freeze tag, or green light, red light, or for me, hide and seek. And taking a breath here. And as you're ready, you can come out. You can press yourselves up and back into a seat. And we will set up for a supported child's. And so you can just take a bolster or pillow out in front. If you want some height, you can place a block at the top to create a little bit of a slopey shape here. You can also place one block at the top and a second one towards the bottom if that shape feels more easeful or supportive for you. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a blanket underneath where my knees would be, just to be a tad more comfortable. And I'm also going to take the second blanket and place it behind my knees. So I'm propped just for, again, some more comfort there. And then you can lower yourself down as you're ready and bring one cheek onto your prop. You can close your eyes or soften the gaze here. And as you're ready, you can turn your cheek to facing the opposite direction and just letting yourself feel into the breath, feel into the body, perhaps feeling the support of the prop you might be using. And taking a moment here, you can either continue to stay here and find 10 more rounds of breath, or you can imagine all the good things you have to look forward to, or recall all the good things that have happened to you today. And then as you're ready, you can press yourself up into a seat. And we'll remove the props to the side. We're going to come down onto the back, and you might like to have something underneath your head. So as you lie down, it's more comfortable. And you can either have a bolster or a block for this. We are going to come into a supported bridge. And so with supported bridge, you might like to place a block underneath the hip or or a bolster. I think whatever you have that feels more firm is probably preferable. If your block is like this type where the edges are a little bit more rough, I would recommend placing a blanket over it. For today, I'm going to demo with my bolster here, since it is a more firm one. And so it's like coming into bridge, and then you just slide whatever prop underneath the hip. And you should find a spot that it shouldn't be uncomfortable. It should feel okay to exist there. And then once you find this, you can just stay here with the arms by your sides. And as you stay in this, some people like to bring one leg out long and then the other long. Sometimes you can feel a little bit of a stretch to the front of the leg, the hips here. Or you can just, remain here. And so finding what works for you. And for this, I'm going to sit up and just keep time. And taking a moment here to check in with yourself, feeling into your physical body, perhaps checking in here to see if you would like to shift anything in the lower body. You know, if your legs were out, maybe you want to bend the knees and bring them in, or vice versa. Perhaps letting your breath deepen a little bit more on the exhale. Perhaps letting the shoulders melt a bit more into the floor and letting the jaw unclench a bit. And taking a moment here to envision holding a baby close to your heart, feeling his or her warmth, and synchronizing your breath and heartbeat with the baby's. Or you can take your final 8 or 10 rounds of deep breath here. And then you can find your way out of that. And so you can bring your feet underneath your knees again if your legs were out long, and you can just press your feet into the mat, lift the hips, release whatever prop you might be using underneath you. And then you can find your way into a seat. So I'm going to show you your options for this last form. You can either take legs up the wall, or if you aren't by a wall, but you still want to do a gentle inversion, just have 2 blocks. I'm going to grab my second one, if I can remember where I put it. So I'm not going to match on the blocks for today, but that's okay. You'll get the point. And so you could do legs up the wall, or you can take 2 blocks and place your bolster or pillow on top. And the blocks are going to be underneath where your legs will be. And so you would lie down and bring your legs on top of your setup. And so this gives a little bit of a gentle inversion. So you can do that. Or, of course, with legs up the wall, you would bring one hip to the wall as close as you can. And then you would take the legs up so that the legs are against the wall and your buttocks as close to the wall as you can be, and then your head is just on the ground. Some people actually like placing a rolled blanket or even a bolster underneath the hips. I often don't teach it like that because I personally don't like how it feels. It hurts my lower back when I place something underneath. But maybe for you, if you're curious or if you know that you like that, please feel free to do that. You can take about 10 more rounds of deep breath. Or if you'd like to, you can come up with your own version of what makes stillness a delight. And then as you're ready, you can come out. And so in whichever variation you're in, you can just hug your knees in towards the chest and carefully roll over. And I'll give you 2 minutes to do any final movements or stretches before coming into your Shavasana. And along with that, your Shavasana, if you want it to be, could be like a regular one where you're lying down, or you can create the shape that is normally used for a reclined butterfly if you're feeling like you want to do a little bit of a hip stretch for your Shavasana. And this is the one where we recline and you have the soles of the feet together and the knees come apart. You can also wrap a rolled blanket around the ankles. Whoops. I need to open this a bit more. There is more blanket to roll. But this might be the form you pick for your Shavasana. Or you could do one that is a bit more typical, and also know if you start here and at some point your legs are like, oof, I've had enough, then you can just also come out of it. So just about 30 more seconds before I guide you into your Shavasana. And so taking a moment to feel into your physical body and getting comfortable here in your preferred form for Shavasana today. You can close your eyes or soften the gaze. Just begin to feel into the back of the body, noticing where you can release effort or tension, your head, neck, back, arms, buttocks, legs, and feet. Noticing your face, forehead, cheeks, and jaw. Relaxing the tongue, maybe letting the eyes sink a bit deeper into the eye sockets. And also checking in with the mind and the heart, seeing if there's things here that you could let go of, or if they just need to simply be acknowledged. And I'll read to you the same excerpt from earlier from Dr. Gail Parker from Restorative Yoga for ethnic and race-based stress and trauma. Restorative Yoga teaches you to recognize what relaxation feels like. It teaches you that just because you're doing nothing doesn't mean nothing is happening. Your body is recalibrating, repairing, and rejuvenating. When you take care of your body, it takes care of you. Relaxation is not a waste of time, and the benefits are worth it. Decreases in heart rate, blood pressure, muscle tension, and anxiety are just some of the benefits. Relaxation also increases your energy level, stimulates memory, improves your ability to focus, enhances sleep, strengthens your immune system, and gives you an overall sense of well being. Make time out a reward, not a punishment. And when I speak again, it will be to guide you out of your Shavasana. Restorative yoga teaches you to recognize what relaxation feels like. It teaches you that just because you're doing nothing doesn't mean nothing is happening. Make time out a reward, not a punishment. As you're ready, you can begin to deepen the breath, feeling into your inhale and your exhale. Begin to bring movement into your fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. And as you're ready, you can bring your knees in towards the chest and roll over to one side and slowly find your way into a seat. And coming into a seat here, you can have your eyes closed or your gaze soft. You can bring the hands to the heart. And we'll take a moment here to just notice the states of your body, breath, and mind. And maybe noticing how you're feeling now compared to the beginning of our time together. And we'll close with one round of a circle of joy breath. So you can bring the hands to the heart with the eyes open here so you can see what I'm doing. So you're gonna take an inhale here. Exhale, clasp the hands, bring them out. Inhale, reach up overhead. And then exhale, hands back down. And then inhale, hands at the heart. And thank you so much for practicing with me today. May you have a good rest of your week and take care of yourself. And may all beings be happy and joyful.